He served District 34 for nearly 2 decades. In February, he announced his retirement.
I'm not passing the torch. I want to light other torches.
The end of an era for Okeo Abdul Samad, a legislator serving a large portion of the state's largest city.
I walked my district, met people, talked to people, and I had people say, "Oh, I'm glad you're our representative."
A community activist and a pillar in the community. He took a step forward when protesters packed the streets in the unrest of 2020 and made a direct impact, helping pass legislation to change how police make arrests right here in Iowa. Coming up on KCCI 8 News Close Up, we're talking to the candidates in line for the District 34 seat and hearing why each one thinks they can fill the shoes of Okeo Abdul Samad.
This is Iowa's news leader. This is KCCI 8 News Close Up.
Good morning and welcome to KCCI 8 News Close Up. I'm Chief Political Reporter Amanda Rooker. At the age of 72, Okeo Abdul Samad announced his retirement from the Iowa legislature after 18 years in office. He was elected in 2006 after Ed Fallon vacated the seat. Abdul Samad is also the CEO of Creative Visions. That is a local organization aimed at helping stabilize stronger families and stronger communities. Creative Visions also has programs designed to promote self-development, responsibility, and empowerment. Samad told KCCI back in February that he hopes his retirement will be the beginning of a bright new future for new leaders stepping up to the plate. And this is how he says he wants to leave his legacy at the Iowa State House.
If I don't have nothing else, what about Okeo? Was he a good legislator? He was a peacemaker. He always brought it together. And I think that's what I want to leave. That's the legacy I want to leave.
Iowa House District 34 covers parts of Des Moines. That includes the Drake, Riverbend, Oak Park, Prosper Park, Cheatham Park, and King Irving neighborhoods. As of May 1st, there were almost 18,000 registered voters living in this district, roughly 9,800 Democrats and about 2,400 Republicans. Today, we're sitting down with all the candidates running for the District 34 seat. There's one Republican candidate who's running unopposed. That is Danielle Duggan. She currently does not live in the district. She'd need to move there by September in order to be on the November ballot. 4 Democrats are facing off for the seat in the June 4th primary election. That's John Campbell, Sammy El Barati, Rob Johnson, and Dudley Muhammad. John Campbell is a lifelong resident of Des Moines, a veteran, and a retired labor leader. I sat down with Campbell to hear why he thinks he's the best fit for the job. Well, John Campbell, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Amanda, for having me.
So why don't you start by just telling us a little bit about yourself and also why you're running for this seat?
Well, I'm a lifelong resident of Des Moines. I went through the public school system here. I served in the military for 5 years. I came back, got married, and my daughter needed a liver transplant, and so I worked 2 jobs, and that's how I got at Firestone and began my union career, and then subsequently involved with politics and the community. Why I'm in this race is what's going on in Iowa is atrocious. The money that they've taken from the public schools and put into the voucher system is not sustainable with the tax rate that they have. I would like to know who writes these bills. Is it some outside organization, or is it Republicans that are from Iowa that are writing them, and why do they think they're in the best interest of Iowans? I don't think it's in the best interest of District 34.
And we only have a little time left, but there are 4 other people running for this seat. Why are you the best person to have this job?
First of all, my time in the community and experience, practical life experience. When I talk about workers' comp, I talk about injuries I've suffered, my brothers and sisters suffered, so that when the state changes the law on workers' comp, I see the direct impact. There is not enough resources being put into our community in the right way to help people rise above whatever status they are.
Well, John, that is actually all the time we have. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Amanda. I really appreciate it.
And Sami El-Baradei is another Democrat also running for the seat. He spent 2 decades teaching at East High School, also serves on the Des Moines, Iowa, and National Education Associations. I sat down with him to hear why he says that experience makes him the best fit for District 34. So why don't you start by just telling us a little about yourself and why you're running for this seat?
Sure. I was born in Alexandria, Egypt. Came to this country when I was 5. The last 29 years, I've been an educator in the Des Moines Public Schools. I've gotten very frustrated with what the governor's done. For that entire time, I've been a union member for the Des Moines Education Association. For the last 12 years, I've served as a union leader, as treasurer of the Des Moines Education Association. And I'm very frustrated with what is happening to our schools. We are underfunding our schools. I'm beginning to wonder why the school is on the back of the quarter if we're not going to honor our schools. And so I'm fighting for our schools of how important they are.
Now, there are 4 other people that are running for this seat. Why are you the most qualified to hold this role?
Well, about half the budget of Iowa is schools. And I see schools as the linchpin between the society we want and the economic growth we need. And so in my mind, that is so vitally important. We want schools to be good because we want families to want to live here. Second question a family ever asks when they find a house: how are the schools? We want businesses to move here. We have the staff that they need trained. We want our kids to feel included and want to feel a part of something. But schools also create economic growth. As people move here, as they work here, as they pay taxes here, the economy grows. So the society becomes better. We have the schools, economy grows, and I'm the person who can take that message into the House because I've had to live the laws our governor has signed. When I talk to someone across the aisle, I'm not saying, I think this will do this. I'm saying, in my classroom, to my students in my school, this is what you're doing to my community. And I think that's a very different argument than I support schools. Our governor says that all the time, and I'm not sure too many people in our district believe her.
Well, Sami El-Baradei, thank you so much for joining us today. Still to come on Close Up, our conversations with the candidates continue. I sit down with Democrats Rob Johnson and Deadly Muhammad, who are also running for that District 34 seat. Welcome back to Close Up. We're talking with the 5 Iowans running to fill the open spot in Iowa House District 34. That includes several Des Moines neighborhoods. And after representing District 34 for 18 years, Akayo Abdul-Samad announced he was retiring, leaving a vacancy in the Iowa House. Democrat Rob Johnson is hoping to fill that spot. He's a faith leader, community activist, and a mental health advocate. I spoke to Johnson about why he wants to serve District 34. So for Iowans who may not know, why don't you share a little bit about yourself and then why you're running for this seat?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. I'm a dad. I am someone who believes in our community. I am a community activist, and I firmly believe in who we are as a group of people, as a collective. I'm running because I have a 2-year-old named Eli who I really want him to know how to read. I really want him to be able to grow up in a strong public school system and have access to things that we have access to right now. I'm running because I believe in who we are as a collective, how we're able to move forward. And I'm also running because I know that we must fund our mental health system. Right now, we are in dire need for resources for that. And I know that if we work together, we can help fund not only our school system, but also our mental health program, and we can protect women's reproductive freedom.
And there are 4 other people running for this seat. Why are you the best person to fill this job?
I believe I'm the best because I have a proven track record on going and stretching across many different cultures, beliefs, skin colors, many different backgrounds. And I am here to make sure that we continue that trend on how we move our state forward. Right now, politics and people are really tired of politics. But I am someone who knows how to bring our community together. I have proven that we can do this, and I also know that by doing that, we can also help move our community forward as well. The other thing I think that separates me, I believe it's time for a new generation of leadership. I'm 36 years old, and I know that we have an opportunity to really take some new ideas, some new opportunities to that State House and get some work done.
Well, Rob Johnson, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And Democrat Deadly Muhammad is also running for this seat. He's a veteran, a father of 4, and a local business owner. I sat down with Muhammad to talk about what he wants to accomplish if he was elected to represent Iowa House District 34. So for Iowans who may not know, tell me a little bit about yourself and why you're running for this seat.
Well, I was born in Des Moines. I lived most of my life in Des Moines. I went to the Navy in 1975, so I'm a veteran. When I came back here, there was a lot of turmoil going on, a lot of crime, and a lot of drug activity and things, so I was active in the community, patrolling neighborhoods and helping feed the homeless and stuff like that. And I've evolved into a next level with that at this point right now. I work with Urban Dreams, and we do the 3-on-3 basketball tournament. I have a small business, and it's called Mr. Dudley's Family Sweets. And we do cotton candy, snow cones, popcorn, hot dogs. And so at the 3-on-3, we give it away free at the Evelyn Davis Park to the young people.
So if you were elected to this seat, what are the top things that you'd want to accomplish?
Well, safety. Safety in our streets, safety in our schools. That's one of the biggest things with me. And then, you know, I want to make sure that my constituents, everybody that lives in my district, has an opportunity to have their voice heard, to make their opinions count. And so I want to be instrumental in making that happen.
Well, Dudley Muhammad, thank you so much for joining us today. Coming up on Close Up, our conversations with the candidates continue. I sit down with the only Republican running for the District 34 seat. Hear Danielle Duggan make her pitch to voters when we come back. Welcome back to Close Up. We're talking with the 5 Iowans running to fill an open spot in Iowa House District 34. 4 Democrats are facing off in the June primary to fill the spot left vacant by Democrat Akeo Abdul Samad, who announced he was retiring in February. Republican Danielle Duggan is also running for the seat. She's currently not living in District 34, but if she moves there at least 60 days before the general election, she'll run against whichever Democrat wins the June primary. I sat down with Duggan to talk about why she's running. Well, Danielle Duggan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, Amanda, thank you so much for having me. As the Iowa GOP ticket candidate, I know I'm probably not everybody's cup of tea, but I appreciate it so much to be here.
Tell me a little bit about, you are the only Republican running for this seat, so why are you in this race?
I believe that it's important as a Republican for us to be involved in our races here in Polk County. We put all this energy and effort at a major state level and congressional level, but I am only one of 3 GOP candidates in the city of Des Moines on an Iowa House race. We have over 25 races throughout the state where there's not a candidate at all. It's easy to be negative and complain about the process or how the system is set up, but it's a lot harder to step up and get involved. And I think that this is an opportunity not only for me to educate, empower, and encourage other like-minded individuals with the same morals and values to step up and do the same thing.
And our records do show that you currently live in Ankeny, which is not in the district. Is that true?
Right, correct.
So you do have to be living in the district at least 60 days before the election in November to be eligible to run. Do you plan to move to the district, to Des Moines?
Oh, for sure. Yes, I do plan on moving. I have 2 young children who are in middle school, and when you get on the ticket, you submit your paperwork in March. It wouldn't have been feasible for me to take them out of school, move them to the district, and then it was a lot smoother for us if we just wrote it out. Come summer, we move into the district and then move forward with our campaign.
Well, Danielle, that's actually all the time we have. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Sense of helplessness and, just total loss of word. I mean, you can't describe it.
Tragedy in Greenfield as the community continues to sort through what's left after Tuesday's deadly tornado. We'll take a closer look at how they come together in the days since then. Stay with us, KCCI 8 News Close Up. We'll be right back. Severe weather, including a deadly tornado, swept across the state last week. The worst of it happening in Greenfield in Adair County. The National Weather Service says Tuesday's storm is at least an EF4. It traveled for 44 miles and had a peak winds of 185 miles per hour. The ratings are subject to change as the National Weather Service continues to survey damage. Iowans can help by donating to the recovery efforts. Just scan the QR code you see on your screen. It would take you directly to the link where donations are accepted. You can also find that on kcci.com. Meanwhile, volunteers from all over are coming in to help. St. John's Catholic Church has been a hub for donations to be dropped off and picked up. KCCI's Ophelia Jacobson shows the generosity and resiliency of Iowans in the face of tragedy.
Come back and we'll do it again.
Sounds good, thank you.
Serving food is what Amy Sivage and her wife know how to do. And in response to Tuesday's tornado, they're changing their business model.
We're doing it for free and passing out food to the people that need it.
The couple is serving hot meals to anyone that needs it. They've been in Greenfield since Wednesday and plan to stay as long as they can.
And we've had a lot of donations that people have given us, so we're just cooking it up. This is what our job is anyway.
Food truck is parked at St. John's Catholic Church, which is currently a hub for donations and supplies. Father Philip Bimpong says they opened their doors just hours after the storm.
Just a Facebook message. This is what we are doing. We need this, we need that. And they started bringing them.
The church has been vocal on social media about what they need, everything from canned goods to diapers. Bimpong says the response has been overwhelming.
God is good, it's popular all the time.
The church says the thing they need the most right now is plywood, and they say they've already received a ton of donations. The church is also collecting tarps and handing them out.
We got them from St. John's Catholic Church.
To people like Logan Calkins. His company is one of many helping people protect what's left from Tuesday's tornado ahead of more storms.
So we're trying to get up here on these roofs and just get everything sealed up so the damages that already have happened don't cause more damage tonight with tonight's rain.
It's an all-hands-on-deck situation in Greenfield. It'll be a long road to recovery.
The more hands that has come, they are the hands of God. They are the generosity of God reaching out to us.
But many hands make light work. In Greenfield, Ophelia Jacobson, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
Governor Kim Reynolds has made multiple visits to the community. On Thursday, she was there touring the town with the federal emergency management agencies. KCCI's Bo Bowman was with the governor.
I had neighbor stuff from 2 houses away in my basement. Something knocked me out, which I'm thinking that's grateful. Yeah. Because I was loose.
Yeah, relax.
Governor Kim Reynolds surveyed the damage in Greenfield Thursday with FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell, speaking with the victims that will be cleaning up for days, if not weeks, to come. Reynolds applied for an expedited major disaster proclamation, hoping to secure federal funding for the victims as quickly as possible.
Talking to the few people that we talked to and hearing their stories of survival, and just by the grace of God, they were able to survive the storm passing over their home.
Reynolds also shared 153 homes in Adair County were destroyed by the storm, most of them in Greenfield. A representative from the National Weather Service says it only took about a minute for the tornado to rip through the town.
Overall, it's been a terrific response.
As the people of Greenfield continue to help clean up their friends' and families' homes, Willard Olson remembers the 4 lives lost, 2 of them friends.
They're both people that when the bell rang, they always showed up. And there's been a lot of people show up, I think, not only because they love the community, but it's a good way to honor them.
That's what keeps Olson and many others going, knowing that whether federal aid shows up now or later, they have to keep digging up the rubble and rebuilding their hometown.
With everybody's help and support, I think we can actually come out of this looking pretty good.
Bo Bowman, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
You see the images there. It is just a heartbreaking scene on the ground, especially a sobering one from up in the air. Only KCCI's Marcus McIntosh and photojournalist Glenn Bierman were given an aerial tour of the devastation.
Supporting America's communities with emergency response, one of the goals of the Civil Air Patrol.
The
volunteer organization went wheels up from the Des Moines airport, destination Greenfield, to document the devastation caused by the tornado.
We are very willing to give our time and make an impact in these communities.
Colonel Jonathan Lartey, the Iowa Civil Air Patrol Wing Commander, says the work they are doing is one of many vital steps toward getting those suffering the help they need.
Oh my. The service that we're performing, documenting this damage and getting that information to federal and state agencies as quickly as possible is going to help get relief into those areas and assist those communities and those families more rapidly.
The single-engine airplane is not the only emergency response tool controlled by the Civil Air Patrol. Its toolbox is deep.
We've also got low-level drones flying over Greenfield and other areas, taking very high-resolution imagery of the impacted areas. And we also have manned air crews that are taking other handheld imagery.
Colonel Lartey says what the Civil Air Patrol is doing is something they feel called to do, saying this is not about me, this is about us.
It's a sense of giving back to your community. You do this out of a love to your community.
It's about making a difference in the lives of others. In Des Moines, Marcus McIntosh, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
Keepsakes from Greenfield were scattered all over the state during the storm. Family photos, homework, even a bank statement were found on the Honey Creek Golf Course in Boone, and Boone is roughly 80 miles northeast of Greenfield. So with the help of social media, the golf course hopes to reunite those special belongings to their owners.
This is somebody's family, you know, somebody's loved one, so it's important that they get those back.
And if you are a storm victim in the area and notice any of your photos or other items missing, the Honey Creek Golf Club team is asking you to reach out. Well, Montgomery County also saw a path of destruction after Tuesday's tornado outbreak, and a sheriff there is being hailed a hero after rescuing a woman. And the journey to get there was caught on his body camera. Sergeant Todd Dolan was on duty when the storm sirens went off. He raced to an area campground to make sure people made it to shelter.
I exited my vehicle and I went and knocked on the 4 campers that were there. And by the time I was getting back to my vehicle, I knew it was getting very close. Usually we try to not get ourselves into the storm. That was my first experience having to ride one out, and it wasn't that much fun.
Amazing stuff there. The camper Sergeant Dolan rescued the woman from is now destroyed. The woman says she would not be alive had he not stopped. Well, thank you for joining us for KCCI 8 News Close Up. We'll see you back here next Sunday. Have a great day.